I've always lived in the Ozarks. I don't know if I would know how to live anywhere else. I've lived here all my life. And it's not just the beauty of the trees and the rocks and the hills that keep me here. It's a lot of it's the people and the characters that I grew up with. I grew up in a small town in the southern part of the Ozarks, not too far from the Arkansas River. And I grew up on a cattle farm. But the little town that I grew up in was full of characters. And I say that with a lot of respect and love, in that they're characters in their own right. Each individual, I guess, is a character, if you think about it, a personality. And those that were around me seemed to have something a little special about them. And that's why I was so filled with these stories that just keep coming out no matter what I do. I grew up around some family that were great storytellers. My dad was a great storyteller, and I had some cousins who were great storytellers. And that was something we just seemed to do at times around especially around Christmas and Thanksgiving, when the family would all get together. We would be sitting around telling stories and tales of the past experiences that we had had, and everyone seemed to enjoy it. And I learned, I guess, at the feet of of those relatives, and especially my dad and my cousins. I started putting down into words the beginnings of Dragonflies on my rod tip by just writing stories, because writing a story because I wanted to start preserving. I started thinking about a lot of the stories that were told around my home, and the stories that I had heard for years, by word of mouth, that were in danger of or at risk of being gone forever, because there was no preservation of those stories. And so I started writing a couple of stories, and soon I found myself, I had 5 or 6 of them, and I started sharing them with people who really seemed to enjoy them. And I had a couple of guys tell me, said, you ought to put those in a book, put them together in a book. And so I decided, why not? And that was the beginning. I put the stories together, put them in a book form. I had about 20, I guess, at the time, and put them together, and decided to call the book Dragonflies on My Rod Tip. The mistake that some people seem to make is thinking that this is a book about hunting and fishing, and there's hunting and fishing in the stories, but there are also stories that have nothing to do with hunting or fishing, but just about life growing up and living in the Ozarks. Not just necessarily something that you would want to be a hunter or a fisherman, or even live in the Ozarks to enjoy them. People have told me who don't know a lot about the Ozarks, they've read the stories and told me that it brought back memories, and I think that's what one of the things I'm after, is getting people to understand life in the Ozarks, number one, and number two, the preservation of those stories that I know of, and number three is just to bring back those memories of people in their childhood, especially people who grew up in a rural area, or lived in a rural area, or maybe those that even didn't grow up in a rural area, that just to bring back memories of their childhood and things that they did. So I think that's my big audience, is going to be people who want to remember those things, and this is something that I hope will help them bring back those memories. I really enjoyed putting together the video, or the stories in the book. Really enjoyed writing those stories down, because they are so near and dear to my heart. And Dragonflies on My Rod Tip is sort of my baby right now, and I have 3 other books in the works, and hope to improve upon the Dragonflies book. I have another book that's going to be filled with the similar stories that I hope are even better and more enjoyable. And then I have one that's a novel, a fictional novel. And I also have one that is a fictional novel, historical, based on a story from my family back in the 1800s. And so I'll kind of leave it at that, and it'll be a surprise when you do read it. But it's something that's going to be something that people, I think, will really enjoy, especially people who are interested in the Civil War and what happened in those days.